Hello, and welcome to the Spyrothon Miscellaneous Showcase. Today is June 26th, 2021, and we've got quite a show for you. A bunch of games that you are probably familiar with, I hope, the Spyro series. Some that you might not be familiar with. Some of those GBA games, some of the later ones in the series. You know, not everybody sees those. We're going to try to showcase them today. A bunch of categories you're probably familiar with, and again, different ones you probably haven't seen before. Should be a pretty exciting day. I'm pretty happy for it. I'm ready to go. Let's get right to it. I don't have too much to say other than thanks to everybody for being here. Hope you have a very good time here. If you want to keep up with everything related to the Spyrothon, check us out on Twitter at Spyrothon. You can join the Discord. Link will be in the Omnibar below, or I think it's linked on our Twitter as well, or in the bio. Check it out. We got tons of stuff happening. Looking to keep doing events like this and try new things. So yeah, hope we can give you a good show. Hope you enjoy it, and hope to see you throughout the rest of the year and as we go into the fall for the main event this year as well. But anyway, first up, we've got SableDragonRook running SRT 80 Dragons. Should be a great time. Sable, go ahead and take it away.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Hi everybody, I'm SableDragonRook. You can call me Sable. Can't find my voice today, but this is going to be SRT1, 80 Dragons, kind of obviously a meme category or a miscellaneous category, or I wouldn't be here. But I'm not gonna hold you up here. We are just gonna clear this data and get going. So as long as we're ready with the timer, I am going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So hello everyone, welcome to Spyrothon Miscellaneous Showcase. I am very excited to showcase, honestly, what is my favorite Spyro run. Not that I've, done a bunch of stuff from all of the games, but I do a fair amount from SRT1, and 80 Dragons is definitely my favorite. So if you couldn't tell, right? We're gonna get 80 Dragons. Pretty on-the-nose title there. So what we're doing, right? 80 Dragons is all of the dragons in the game. We're not getting anything else except for eggs. The vast majority of Spyro categories, at least for SRT, as far as I'm aware, let me just speak for SRT1 because that's the game that I know, requires you to get gems, right? Like, you get gems because you gotta go places. And the balloonists won't let you go places if you don't get gems. But we don't care about that, right? We're gonna do some out-of-bounds stuff. And I am running this on console, so that out-of-bounds stuff is going to look quite a bit different than I think what some people are used to if you've seen this run before, which is great. It is really fun to watch this particular glitch in action. But for now, as we're in Artisans, the first world of the game, we're just focusing on dragons. Bonk. The bonk is never my fault, okay? The bonk is RNG manipulation. It's never a bad thing. That bonk too. That was intentional, totally. So the reason that I bonk so much, right, is because this is 1.0 disc version, which means some of the like invisible walls and like boundaries collision around things is a little less forgiving than the 1.3 current patch. So I'll probably just bonk on air semi-frequently. And so happy to report, of course, that this category also uses this trick with nils coming up, where I do believe that how it works is that the fairy after nils creates like a hitbox in the air. We're going to be standing on that. Or, you know, maybe we'll get yeeted to space. Always interesting to see which of those things is going to happen. Kind of want to be yeeted, even though it's slower, just because it's so fun. But for those unfamiliar, we're trying to get up over a ledge that is at the end of the level, because that's where all the dragons are, and that prevents us from having to do the level as intended. Because we're speedrunners. Why do we do things as intended when we don't have to? Aw, no yeet. Oh well. Is it weird to be sad that you did the thing that you were supposed to do? There will only be a couple times that I'm going to use the guidebook to exit instead of, you know, exit level. Exit level will take you out in front of the portal that you just entered. Guidebook will take you to where the balloonist would take you if he was, you know, moving you in between worlds. That just happened to be much closer to the next level in this particular instance, and so I guidebooked out. Most of the time I'm going to be exiting level. Artisans is kind of convenient in that the balloonist takes you straight to the middle of the world, but all the other worlds are going to have a more linear, like, path through them. $80 dads. We should just make a category called, like, dad %, where you just end on Magnus. So obviously there are dragons in here. There are dragons in every level except for the flight levels and Nasty Nork. Although technically there's a dragon associated with Nasty, and we'll talk about that in a bit. The other reason, though, besides just getting the dragons that we're in this level, which almost nobody ever sees, is because Toasty, the boss of this world, is locked behind a closed dragon head. Those closed dragon heads are actually a recurring theme in this run. And in order to open that closed dragon head, I'm going to need to go through a return home portal, like that one. Doesn't matter where, it just happens to be that this one is very convenient. Bonk. Bonk counter goes to 3, I think. Maybe we're already at like 10. Alright, so I fulfilled the requirement, right? I went through the return home portal, so the dragon head opens. The dragon heads are also going to appear in Nasty Nork's world. Kind of. Yes and no. They're going to appear when I say that I want them to appear, assuming that I do everything else correctly. But we'll leave that for a little bit later. So sad that we don't get to fight Toasty. He's great. He's chilling over there. Big Grim Reaper guy. Who is actually just 3 sheep in a trench coat. Best boss ever. Yeah, I don't understand why Jacques has 2 dragons. Like, did they think that he was that scary that you needed 2 dragons from that level?
Are you ready to go?
Are you ready to go? Is he just 1 sheep? He might just be 1 sheep. I could have sworn he was 3 sheep, but now that I think about it, you're probably right. He's 1 sheep on stilts, not 3 sheep. Essentially breaks down into, are you ready to go, Spyro? And hi, Spyro. Hi, Spyro. Which we're going to hear a lot. And I know, obviously, since this is Spyrothon, that there are a lot of Spyro runners in chat. So watch me fail this jump across, with a charge jump, like a goob. Charge jumping is so powerful in this game. I don't think, and obviously OG runners can correct me here, but I do not think that charge jumping was as much of a thing in the original. It's just so powerful here. As far as total distance you can cover. Plus the fact, of course, that Spyro can often keep charging on thin air after he goes off of a platform for some distance. Hey, I made it. Maybe I do know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm taking this extra life as a backup, just because we're in a marathon. Way to go, dude. Way to go, my little purple Durgan. Get up there. Because if we should fail this glitch that's coming up, it can cost a life, and game overing is not cool when I could avoid it, so we're gonna take that extra life. Alright, so first encounter with an egg thief will be here in Clifftown. We are still getting the eggs. Technically, we don't need to get the eggs, but we are going to get the eggs. Just because they happen to be in the way. So egg thieves, right, if you've never played Spyro. Spyro 1 specifically, I guess. Blue thieves run really fast, have eggs in their hands. You flame them, you get the egg, and later on there's going to be a balloonist that's like, Spyro, I'm not going to take you anywhere until you have 5 dragon eggs. And so that's why we're getting these eggs. And as I said, using the glitch that we're going to be using here shortly, we can skip those eggs if we want to, but it's really not worth it. Poof. Okay, so downward momentum on a thief, right? I'm going to try to get every thief that we need for these dragon eggs by hitting him while I'm moving downward, because he has a little cutscene that will play that will zoom the egg into my face. And I'd rather not watch that because I'm a speedrunner. But if you strike a thief while you're moving downward, for some reason that doesn't play. And so we will do that whenever possible. Same principle with Nestor, the first dragon, who is usually not skippable. If you have downward momentum on him too, then his cutscene becomes skippable. Technically, it's also true of, I guess it's Magnus, who is the final dragon of the game, like, chronologically. I don't think he's skippable either, but you can skip him by going down like that. Yeah, who would want to skip Magnus? Magnus is bae. Magnus is the best. Poof, okay. Downward momentum for most thieves basically just means glide at them while you hit them. That's essentially it. Also, of course, we're going to be picking up fodder animals to pop those butterflies along the way. Every 10th fodder is going to be an extra life butterfly. And I am going to try to pop that extra life, which is a full heal, in Beastmakers. Because that world is unironically hard, and I don't want to die. So let me begin to explain, for those who have never seen it, how this balloonist skip works. I mentioned earlier that balloonists are going to tell you, Spyro, you need to do such and such before I'll take you to the next world. And we've got two balloonists that are particularly of concern. One of them is the one in the world that we're in right now, who's going to ask for 1,200 gems in order to progress to Magic Crafters. Later on, the one in Dreamweavers is going to ask for 6,000 gems in order to go to Nasty's world. Takes time to collect gems. I'm not entirely sure why I went that way. And I don't feel like it, so we're gonna not do that. That's just it, we're not gonna do that. And in order to not do that, that means we are gonna talk to a fairy, which appears after freeing a dragon, and we're gonna put that fairy's text box into storage, into like game memory, right? So that we can walk away from the fairy, we can go wherever we want, and we can still talk to the fairy. The reason for doing that is because when you're talking to a fairy, the game thinks that you're controlling Spyro. Because of course you are, right? Like, you walked up to a dragon and talked to a fairy, of course you're controlling Spyro. But if we take that fairy's text box with us into the balloon and then talk to the fairy, we're going to be able to control Spyro inside that balloon, which we usually can't do. Thankfully, right outside of Bounds and Peacekeepers is a developer's tool that lets us go wherever we want. It basically functions as a balloon that doesn't have requirements. And so we're going to hop into that balloon by going out of bounds. And tell it to take us to a world that we're not allowed to go to. So the game is going to try to take us to Artisans, the only world that we're allowed to go to, because that's what I would have had to choose in order to take the balloon to begin with. And then it's also going to try to take us to whatever world I choose in the dev tool. And it's going to load 2 worlds at once. It's going to be crazy. It's great. It's like my favorite thing about this category. And one way or another, we will end up in those worlds that we're not supposed to be in. So step number 1, we're going to get fairy storage. We're going to get that text box from the fairy to be stored so that we can walk away from the fairy, get in the balloon, and then talk to the fairy like that. So we're going to get that from Magnus. Dad bod Magnus. Hi, buddy.
Hi, Spyro.
And, you know, because I'm a pro gamer, totally got it on the first try. Here we go. Alright. So he's not going to let me pass because I don't have 1,200 gems. So I'm going to say, okay, take me to the world that I can go to, which is Artisans. Then we will talk to the fairy to gain control of Spyro. Out of the balloon, now that we have control of Spyro. And that box down there is the dev tool. That is what I'm trying to land in. Nailed it. Hi, Spyro. We only have a couple frames in which to hit this input. We'll see what exactly we've been given here. Alright, that is good. That was a correct balloonist skip. So we were loading 2 worlds at once, that's why it was flashing. We play the intro cutscene because, you know, why not? And it has taken us to Artisans, which is the first world that I asked it to take me to, right? I asked that first balloon to take me to Artisans, but I asked the second one to take me to Nork's world, and so that's where we'll end up. Ta-da! We've done it.
Nasty's world
what's in
now,
there?
Spyro.
I believe
And you are the
this is
dragon that must
Nasty's
defeat
treasure
it.
hoard.
Bring him on.
The gate will
I'm
only
ready.
open if you have
Reach
found
the
everything in
exit
the
in each
Dragon
of Nasty's
Kingdom.
lands.
Come back
Then
when
you
have
can
reached
challenge the Nork
100%.
himself.
So there's a couple things, right? You may have questions. Why did any of that happen? So first of all, we're not supposed to be here. We have 348 gems, and we're supposed to have 6,000. So that's problem number one. The game is like, hold on. Excuse me? Why are you here? And so it doesn't load right, because it doesn't expect us to be there, right? Which is good for a couple reasons. First of all, there's 2 dragons. One of those dragons, I believe it's Magnus, is only supposed to appear after you defeat Nasty Nork. So the game can't tell what has happened. It can't tell whether you've defeated Nasty Nork or not, and so it's like, well, okay, this is where both dragons live, so I guess they're both just gonna be there. And that prevents us from having to fight Nasty Nork in this run, because we get his dragon, like, ahead of time. Second, the dragon heads that were blocking specifically this level, Twilight Harbor, were also not there. They will be, now that I come back out, which is why we went into Twilight Harbor first. Because now, ta-da, as you can see, I can't get in there anymore. And so, we need to enter Twilight Harbor first, we need to exit via guidebook, or else I would just be stuck in the dragon's mouth forever, because it's closed. And so we take advantage of the fact that that world is not loaded correctly, in order to get, like, way ahead as far as dragons and not having to get gems and all that sort of stuff. And what's even more exciting is that this trick looks different on PC. You can still do this, you can still, like, cheese your way into Nasty's world without having the gems, but it's done in, like, an entirely different way. Last I saw, you kinda glide into a wall for a while, and then just go out of bounds and walk around Peacekeeper's world, and then glide out into the box. I think that's how it works. But this is console, and so we do the fairy storage thing into the box. And we'll do it again. So if you missed it the first time, or just want to see more flashy screen shenanigans, it will happen again, because I don't feel like collecting 1,200 gems for Magic Crafters. And this is why... Hey, I actually hit that guy. This is why you can skip the dragon eggs if you want to. Like, you could just do that skip again if you want. But, as I said before, the dragon eggs are basically in our way anyway. And you always take the risk you're gonna hard lock the game when you do that skip, so it's not really worth it when you could just get the eggs real quick. Oh yeah, that is also another possibility, right? You could just have, like, perma-flight in Spyro 1 if you get it from Spyro 2, and then you can just fly into the tool. Alright, here we go. No hard lock, please. Well, okay, let's make it into the balloon first. One step at a time. Ooh, I'm far away. Nailed it. Okay. Magic Crafters. Next place we're heading. 1,200 gem requirement. Don't feel like it. Bam. Sideways into the balloon is always a good sign. Okay, and we can move. So, both balloonist skips were successful. Thankfully. Because I swear to God, I did this like 5 times this morning just to make sure that it had successfully, like, backpatched. And I hard locked 5 times in a row, so kind of glad that that didn't happen. It's been such a long time since I've actually hard locked that, I could not figure out what was happening. So just as with Nasty's World, stuff is not going to be loaded here. You know, we're not supposed to be here. Unfortunately, that means the thief that's normally right here is not here, and we'll have to get a different one. But thankfully the dragons are still here. And by the time that I come out of Alpine Ridge, everything will be sorted out. The game will be done having a fit. But yeah, doing that, and when we're done with the run, like while we're transitioning to the next one, I can do it just for funsies. But depending on when you hit that input to choose what world you want to go to in the dev tool, determines what kind of soft lock or hard lock you get. Sometimes sometimes Spyro will just like come out of the balloon and you can't move him, but you can see like you're inside of his head and you can see his like creepy eyeballs and teeth and stuff, and it's real weird. Sometimes you can just see world boxes and it's really cool looking. There's a ton of different locks depending on what frames you try to hit that input. I wanted to get that fodder. Again, we're trying to push toward 10 fodder by the time that we get to Beast Makers. It's Beast Makers. I always want to say Beast Crafters because we're in Magic Crafters right now. Poof, that guy just disappears. Whoa, that was kind of a messy glide. Oh, get me there. Oh, help. Okay, I made it. It was for swag. I didn't mess up. It was just swag. Alright, we're gonna try this thief with downward momentum, so we didn't get that cutscene. 2 thieves to go, and then we'll have the 5 dragon eggs that we need in order to leave this world. But even though the balloonist skips are over, we do still have some cool things to do. Of course, we've got the fancy double back in treetops. We've got completely going backwards in, what is that, haunted towers? So lots of cool stuff still coming. What's the fodder for? Every 10 fodder will give you an extra life butterfly. And that butterfly can heal you no matter how hurt you are. And I'm probably gonna get hurt kind of bad in Beast Makers. So I want to try to pop that 10th butterfly at a time when I probably need it, when I could probably use the full heal. Sometimes it doesn't work out, you know, sometimes you're at yellow sparks when you get that and then it's kind of pointless. But it's nice to have it. Every now and then it can really save you. Because we will be doing some damage tanking in Beast Makers. We need to make sure that we have sparks for some of it. And by the way, if you see me leave a level besides Misty Bog, and it says that I haven't found all the dragons, it doesn't say all dragons found at the bottom, please tell me. Because that's not supposed to happen. Speaking of Misty Bog, though, we will be entering that level twice, and in fact the run ends on Misty Bog in the hardest room of the game, because of course it does, why wouldn't it? I'm not sure how many other SRT 1 runners we have in chat here, but if we have anybody, can I just get like an affirmation that those green wizards suck? That nobody likes those green wizards. They're like the worst. They snipe you like 360 no scope across the planet. They're insane. And we'll get through that guy before he even appears. Now there's a couple ways I could do this. For the sake of the marathon, because it's kind of... Stop, Spyro. Because it's kind of boring, I'm gonna go and get this egg thief instead of doing the faster way, which would involve a bunch of menuing. Nobody wants to look at a bunch of load screens, so we'll just get that egg thief. take the intentional death there to get back to the top of this supercharge. And then we will head up the stairs. And bonk on the very first one, because I am a god gamer. It's no biggie. Like, you can charge fully up those stairs with supercharge. And it looks really cool. So there's our 5 eggs. We're done with eggs. We can leave this world. Now it's just about the Durgans. And by the way, if you didn't know, you can do cool stuff during the load screens. It's a nice little touch that they added. Blowhard is my kryptonite, like, not gonna lie. He's not so bad in 80 dragons because you don't fully have to do the entire fight, but he's basically the only boss we are gonna actually attack once. In 80 dragons, we need to move him on once before we can get his dragon. His is just the land of all the green wizards, though, and that's why it's hard. Look at this guy, barely loaded in and he was ready to shoot me in the face. Alright, so we don't need to follow him anymore. That was all we needed, was for him to lower a wall to get in here. And that's all the dragons. Pop another fodder just to get us a little bit closer to that 10. Even though I was already at yellow. And into Beastmakers. We are well on our way. Beastmakers does not take that long. In reality, especially because we come back to Misty. So Misty Bog, right? Super weird shape. It's like a curvy, oblong Y shape, almost. Which means that it's faster to go in, go down one path, and then leave, go in and go down the other path, than it is to go down one path, backtrack, and go the other way. So that will be the only level that I leave without getting all the dragons. And bonk. And water. So this is why we get that extra life butterfly. Because I cannot control Spyro, apparently, and we're already at green sparks. And we're about to take more damage. We'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I have to give the enemies at least the feeling that maybe they have a chance. You know, gotta make them feel good. Can't be at yellow sparks all the time. Okay, so because I was concerned about my health, this is the only time I make it across that with no damage. Okay. Yeah, sure. That was really good cycling on all of those panels. Usually you get zapped at least once. I can tell you, it is just so unspeakably nice to not have to worry about whether Sparks has actually grabbed something in this run. Don't matter. It's so relaxing. You could do Sparkless 80 Dragons, I think. I mean, I guess for Misty here, you just have to go a different way since you can't damage tank, but that would be fun. I'm glad that it's not just me that thinks that Sparks is an absolute goon in SRT. Didn't quite make that. Oh well. I was just doing it for swag anyway. That bonk was kind of intentional that time to turn me around faster. Okay, and so we're leaving without getting all the dragons. That is on purpose. This time. If I've done it elsewhere, that's a little bit of a yikes, but this time at least it's on purpose. So at this point, we basically don't even need to worry about that extra life. We might get it here. I just want to see. Yeah, there's the extra life. We're past the hard parts. So in the end, we didn't even really need that heal. But it was nice to know that it was there, should we need it. And we're back at yellow anyway, before treetops. Treetops is the level that no child could figure out. Treetops is very confusing. Thankfully, we're gonna skip all of it. Because the principle in SRT, I'm pretty sure for all SRT games, not just one, is that Spyro can keep his supercharge while going slow if you kill his momentum on something. And so I am gonna kill his momentum on that building. And then completely miss anyway. That's okay. I just wanted to show you like the beautiful design at the bottom of the world. I just wanted to make sure that you saw that. Gotta give the devs some credit. Take a look at the bottom of the platform. So yeah, I killed Spyro's momentum on that hut to turn him left very, very sharply. And it did work both times. I was just kind of a goober the first time. And so we dropped basically from the very beginning of the puzzle all the way to the end without having to supercharge all the way through treetops to get to that platform. My question is, because Spyro says it himself, but how did Magnus get caught by Nasty Nork again? Like, why is Magnus the dragon that you free? Because Spyro's like, didn't I already free you? And he's not wrong. Not that I'm going to complain about seeing Magnus again, but... I don't ever mind him hitting me like that because he just kicks me down further toward where I need to go anyway. Yeah, exactly. All of the dragons in Nork's world are repeats. I guess they got together like a little torch and pitchfork party and went to go fight Nasty Nork again and then completely lost. Which means there's really only... what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 6 dragons in Nasty's world, so there's only actually 74 dragons in the game, not counting Spyro. So really, 80 dragons is just based on the premise that some dragons are really stupid and get themselves caught a second time. this appears with, what's his name? Delbin? When they both play together, because Delbin is the one that is sitting there when you first enter Nasty's world, and he's the one that's like, reach the return home portal in each of Nasty's lands, and then you can challenge the Nork himself. He's the one that appears first. They're both red though, so they just kind of turn into a homogeneous blob of horror. Some eldritch creature. So fairy smoochies, right, give me extra spicy fire for a minute. And I literally only need that to open a door that you can't even see. It's right here. That was a metal door that I needed to flame in order to get out of the way. And now we are going to try to go backwards on a supercharge. Normally you have to charge with the arrows, right? I am going to try to charge against the arrows and keep my supercharge. Easy peasy. Surprisingly easy, actually. That went very well. And so by doing that, we can skip a really long puzzle, like where you're charging down a tunnel and you're breaking metal doors with your supercharge, and then you're going back and getting your supercharge again and breaking more metal doors. Then you go back again, and then like charge in a circle. It's all sorts of nonsense. And we skipped all of it. And because we've already done Nasty's world, this current Dreamweaver's escapade is going to be our final world. So refreshing to do things completely out of order. Bonks, I tell ya. Like, what did I bonk on there? The air? That enemy's untamed hatred for Spyro, is that what I bonked on? I love how sometimes you can even bonk on dragons. Like, you just go up to free the dragon, and it's like, no. So what I'm doing here, I'm letting this dragon play, because in-game time, which is how we time all of these categories in SRT, does not pass when a dragon is playing. And so I was able to play that dragon, wait for the dogs in the background to be much more manageable, without, you know, having to deal with them, without having to spend in-game time because the timer was stopped. $69 dragons. Nice. $70 dragons. We are in the home stretch. 10 dragons to go. And they're all fairly easy to reach at this point. Dreamweavers is very streamlined as far as what you need to do to get these dragons. However, don't forget that we are still ending in the hardest room of the game, so we've got that to look forward to. I always like to try to finish these runs under 1,000 gems, just for, like, swag. But we ended up picking up a couple too many this time. That's okay. Also, Latif over here that I'm freeing next is my favorite dragon. He was my favorite dragon in the original, and he's still my favorite dragon. Look at his design. He's so good. He's so good.
Welcome to the Dreamweavers, young one.
They did such a good job with all these dragon redesigns. Also being like the focus of everybody's attention a couple years ago when we were still just like thinking about maybe we could break the game, because right, you can proxy off of nils at the very beginning of the game by standing on that hitbox, right? And we were wondering if you could also somehow, because Latif has that little like incense burner next to his feet, and we thought that maybe something about that would be able to cause you to proxy as well, and that would let you cove skip, which is not a thing on console. Unfortunately, that never worked out. That ended up not being true, but it was the thought for a while. And I mean, you can cove skip, I guess, in the sense that you can do what I did and just not have to fight Nasty at all, but... Or in the case of no balloonist skip runs, you can do what Chris did at GDQ and just go straight from Dreamweaver's to Nasty's portal by intersecting with Nasty's portal as you load into Nork's world, which is just an insane trick. But no cove skip, as it is commonly known, you know, sliding over the wall. I definitely felt, like, you can definitely tell their creative efforts went into Spyro 1. I definitely feel like I'm primarily a Spyro 1 runner. Yep. Spyro 1 runner. So I don't have, like, too much experience with the other games aside from just playing them for fun. But I do think that 2 and 3 definitely felt a lot more like their originals than Spyro 1 does. And I think that they did a great job on all of them, but I do think that I would agree with that Spyro 1 got a ton of love. I didn't notice how many dragons I have, but I hope it's 76. Was it 70? Okay, no, it's 76. Good. Whew. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me if it was 75. Poor Zakomo over there in the corner. I always forget him. There have definitely been 80 dragons that I've ended and been like, oh wow, look at that time, and then I'm at 79 dragons. Alright, I'm not gonna push this cake up all the way because I don't need to. Bam. Don't need the extra life either because I am brave. Maybe I shouldn't be, since we're heading into Misty again. Alright, into Misty. Final 2 dragons are here, so we should get ready on the timer. Yeah, I feel so bad for Zakomo, because I get to the end and I'm like, haha, victory, I've saved all the dragons, and he's just over there like, excuse me? Hello? Don't leave me. Alright, so we are heading into the hardest room in the game. I love that I've taken just a ton of damage. That was completely unintentional, but now we gotta get through this room for swag. No damage, come on. I bonked, okay? Are you kidding? I was totally ready for that. I was ready to make it through that room with no damage, and then I bonked on an invisible wall that was, like, aligned with the side wall, and it let that frog hit me. So sad. See, I made it without damage that time. Okay, we should get ready on the timer, because timing stops now. 20:53. A very decent time for, you know, just a marathon, just kind of chilling. So yeah, that was 80 dragons. Thanks for the GGs, everybody. Now, I know we're ahead of estimate. I am literally just gonna sit here and putz around until you transition away from me. So, thanks for having me. And I guess let's get hyped for the next run as well. We've got lots of fun miscellaneous Spyro today. So stick around and there will be lots of fun stuff.
Hi, Spyro.
All right, so that was an awesome 80 Dragons run by Sable. Seriously, great job. That was awesome.
Thank you.
First time I've actually watched that run like fully through. Honestly, I didn't see like that Magnus part that you did like towards the beginning ever. So that just blew my mind.
It's
But
like one of my favorite parts about the entire run.
oh, for sure, I can understand that. It's just a great visual. Like you would never expect to see that in a run.
Right?
I wish that our 80 Dragons on PC had that. Honestly,
I'm totally gonna soft lock the game, and that's where we're gonna leave it.
that's a great place to leave it.
And by soft lock, I mean hard lock. Just kidding. We're gonna see
Reasonable.
some world boxes.
Man, the skybox here looks so good. And then, oh, here we are.
There we go.
Alrighty. So that
for
was
having me.
Sable. Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for coming on.
I bet.
Alrighty, so we're going to take a brief little intermission while we head into the next run, which will be by CDR. We'll be doing the Legend of Spyro Eternal Night GBA, all relics, all dark relics specifically. And that's going to be a really good time. It's actually the only Legend of Spyro game on our entire showcase, but I'm super excited for it. So, see you guys in a little bit with that.